Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your weekend horoscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So for a lot of you, the first thing that I will say is your key to the week is the Sun card. The reason I laughed is because I was going to say I finally get to give you some good news. I know a lot of you have been like, Raph, like I've had friends, others like message me, some people in the comments, and they're just like, do I just hide for the whole month and, pop back up in October and hope for the best? You've got the Sun card, light, heat, blessings, but also remember this is the cosmic green light, and it's also that moment at which the universe says, I'm going to give you a break here. I'm going to cut you some slack. When the Sun card comes up as the key to the week, it's usually that things sort of even off, they ease up, they get a bit more sort of bright and happy. And more importantly, this is where blessings show up. This is where the good things can find you. The thing that I always say about the Sun card is it enhances your blessings and it diminishes your challenges. That being said as well, for those of you that have got children, this could be a week where your children really are a source of joy and happiness and, an enjoyment. And they usually are, everyone I know that is a parent, they always say the same stuff. They drive me fucking mad, but I love them and I wouldn't have it any other way. So, or maybe that's just everybody that I know from where I grew up. All jokes aside though, there's blessings here, all right? There's blessings to be had. So when it comes to your, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So if you are a continued subby, Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. And then with this, your actions and options, you've got that eight of wands coupled with the Sun card. This is you reaching out far and wide, putting the feelers out, asking where you can get support, who is on board with what you're trying to do, with what you're trying to create, with how things are moving ahead. What I love most about this for you is you are stepping into a teaching and or training some sort of capacity, which is something that Sagittarian energy does very well anyway, but you're doing this almost reluctantly. Like for a lot of you, I feel like this might be that you're job hunting, maybe you're prospecting like clients and stuff, and it just keeps coming back, this resounding message, we want you to teach, we want you to teach. And in the end, it's like, you get to a point, I know for me, with the work that I'm doing now, it got to the point where the literal knock on the wall, on the doors, on the windows got so loud. And every time I refused to read for somebody, because of everything that I had going on in my own life, it got louder and it got louder and it got louder until the point where I couldn't deny it anymore and I had to pick it up. And as soon as I went back to readings, as soon as I went back to doing this kind of work, it all stopped. So this week, you might get a resounding sort of push. You're supposed to be teaching. You're supposed to be offering stuff. You should be mentoring. You should be offering courses, whatever it might be. There is a push here this week that is coming back. And when you're putting the feelers out, the things that you need are absolutely showing up for you. It's just probably looking slightly different to how you thought it would. For your communications and conversations, you have the Justice card. This is new contracts that come to light. New contracts that come to light potentially with persons that are international to you. You've got the Justice card here in your communications, which means there are going to be a lot of negotiations this week. There are going to be contracts, there's going to be signing of documents, there's going to be receiving of documents, there's lots of toing and froing. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Mercury is going retrograde over the course of, as of this week, Mercury will be retrograde. So you've got that going on as well. And as if that wasn't enough, you have a lot of paperwork to trawl through. I'm not bothered by this, to be honest with you, and it looks like the Mercury retrograde isn't really touching you. So that's really good. When it comes to your... oh, come on, brain. When it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this is a commitment that comes adjacent or alongside the studies that you're already doing. So let's say you go in for a degree program, let's say you start working that. It's like your teachers or your professors figure out very quickly, this person is very bright, they're very good at this, and we would like to think about maybe making them a TA on top of, whatever they're choosing to study. There is potentially some kind of accolade at the end of this, but you've got to prove or show the commitment now. When it comes to those of you that are employed by somebody else, beautiful. Honestly, this feels for me like, I don't want to say the words a fated contract, but it feels like something that for you will feel like, oh my gosh, it's about time, right? And you might feel like that, but at the same time, it will be like, okay, you know what, I am valued. There's a moment here where you realize, yes, I'm wanted. And yes, this commitment is going to require more work, but that actually feels like a reward rather than a kick in the teeth. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, this is you suddenly finding yourself being amplified. Your voice, your reach, your notice, your business, in some way, shape or form, you are being highlighted. You are being seen, which could potentially lead to a contract, or there's one already in place that ends up taking you further afield. So I love this for you. Countries and places abroad that tend to come under Libra, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head is China. So if you get any sort of correspondence from people over that way, there's a reason for it. Utilize that. When it comes to your there are other places as well, and do you know what, my mind's just drawn a complete blank. It's always the way. Or maybe that's, that's obviously because the message that you were supposed to get is about that. So whoever needed to hear that, that's your message. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, honestly, this is vacation energy. Either take some time out, or maybe think about doing some form of volunteering in a place that is foreign to you. All right. For your love and relations, you've got the Six of Cups. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is getting back to the honeymoon period. With the Eight of Wands, that is lovely, because this is you and a partner planning to visit somewhere or to go somewhere that you've been before. But you're doing this in a way that really makes you sort of smile and happy. For a lot of you that are single, this could be a reconnection with an old partner, maybe somebody that you dated before. For some of you as well, I know a lot of people are going to groan at this. If you've been married previously and that marriage had come to an end, I wouldn't be surprised if you were reconnecting with your ex in some way, shape or form. Maybe not necessarily, to get back with them, but I feel like a lot of you will be getting back to or interacting with or reconnecting with an ex, somebody that you were married to or at least in a serious commitment to. For some of you, the person that you are connecting to or with is someone from your deep past, somebody that you knew as a child, somebody that you knew as a teenager or went to school or to college or to uni with. Usually, I don't know if you've heard this, but there's a school of thought that says basically the person that you're meant to be with or the person that you end up marrying, you've met them by the time you're 15. I always think back to the people that I knew at that point. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine marrying any of them. They drive me bloody mad. But all that aside, for a select few of you, you could be reconnecting with somebody from the past in a really powerful way. For your money and materials, you've got the Ace of Swords. So this week you are signing on the dotted line for something that makes you truly smile, that makes you really happy. This could be the completion of a contract. It could be where a contract of some kind now starts to pay out. I don't know who needs to hear this, but for those of you that have been waiting for an advance on a book deal or something like that, it comes through this week. My advice to you would be, do not waste it, all right? If you've got money coming in as an advance, because your ruling planet Jupiter is retrograde at the moment, be very sensible with that money, all right? Just really keep your head in the game. That being said though, that's the signing of the contract. This is the presenting of the contract, and then you've got the Sun card infusing all of that. This is good connections this week. This is potentially good money this week as well. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the brain is going to be doing 10 to the dozen. You are going to be so busy this week. There's going to be a lot going on in here. There's going to be a lot going on out there. There's going to be a lot of paperwork flowing backwards and forwards. We do have a Mercury retrograde, so you just want to ensure that you are working through all of it methodically, slowly and surely. And then finally, when it comes to your home and environment, for a lot of you, this literally is the change of home, the exchanging of contracts, the maybe you find the place that you want to move to, and this is where the commitment comes in, and this is where the documents come in. For a lot of you though, this is deciding point, all right? And it's interesting because, yeah. Anyway, with that said, finally get to give you some good news. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.